Alright, pizza ingredients YouTubers. So Michael Rapaport, you tried it. And before I get into, actually let me say this real quick before I get into the rest. I told y'all about inviting everybody to the cookout. The cookout is not for everybody. And I'm going to come back to this cookout piece. I'm going to leave it right here on the table. We're going to come back to it. I'm going to let it marinate. I'm going to come back to the cookout piece. But anyway, so here's the backstory. Michael Rapaport decided that Janet Jackson needed to be his punching bag. For some reason. He just decided that he just wanted to let her have it for some reason and just really cook her and go after her entire legacy because for some reason she wasn't up to his standards at the moment. And so here's the backstory. Michael Rapaport is an actor. He's like I'll say upper end of C-list actor, maybe lower end of B-list, depending on what project he's working on. I remember him from Higher Learning, and that's when I stopped rocking with him because he shot Tyra Banks in the back with a shotgun. Okay, he played that role a little too well for my liking. I don't know if you remember the movie Higher Learning, but like he was like this insecure college kid. He decided to align with the white supremacists because he didn't fit in on campus, and somehow I think him and Omar Epps' character were roommates and they didn't get along or some crap like that. Long story short, when he decided to shoot up the whole campus, he really was about to get Omar Epps, but he remembered that he had that pretty girlfriend Tyra Banks, so he's like, I'm gonna shoot her instead. So he, pow, whatever, you know, Tyra and them, they were all running because he was already shooting the whole yard and everything. You know, they were running the poor Tyra, pow, like got shot in the back and everything like that and fell and everything. And oh, it was so bad. She was laying there and she was like, what? It was painful. She was coughing up blood and everything. It was a lot. It was tough. Like, it made me want to get in the fight after I saw that movie. That was tough. So after that, I ain't rock with him. But, and then his character on Boston Public was annoying. But anyway, you all decided to give him a red carpet rollout for the cookout because he made a few videos talking about how stupid Donald Trump was as a president. As if every other person in the country hasn't been saying that for the last few weeks. But anyway, for some of you, that met the qualifications of being invited to the cookout. Because for some reason, a white person who, you know, talks about how stupid Donald Trump is or knows a few Tupac lyrics or likes hot sauce on their catfish, all of a sudden that makes them the pinnacle for fighting against white supremacy and fighting for the betterment of black people and black progression. So you invited him right to the cookout and gave him a certificate of appreciation. And so ever since then, he's been comfortable with talking out of his neck. And so, again, so Michael Rapaport with his C-list credentials and cookout certificate of appreciation decided that he had enough pull and stature to go after, of all people, Janet freaking Jackson. Okay? And pause. I don't care whether you like Janet Jackson or not. I don't care if you think she can sing. I don't care if you think she's famous only because her brother was Michael. At the end of the day, Janet Jackson has proven herself time and time again in the industry. If you look at the records and everything that she has, Janet holds on to so many records that most likely will never be broken. Alright, she's one of 3 people who have a #1 album in 4 different decades. Okay, she has her 10 #1 singles, I think, like that, and that's just the pop charts. That doesn't include how many #1 singles are on R&B charts. And if you go overseas to Japan, I think she has over 40 chart-topping songs because she was a bigger star in Japan than she ever was in the United States. Alright, as a matter of fact, the reason you're even watching me on YouTube right now is because of her breast. Alright, so when that whole Super Bowl thing happened in 04 and, you know, people were outraged and everything like that, the creators of YouTube were so mad that they couldn't find a clip of it the next day. They decided there needed to be an internet service that would allow people to upload videos. And boom, the creation of YouTube. You owe your time sitting here with me and every time that you go on YouTube and go watch your favorite videos or whatever else to Janet Jackson's breast and the outrage that ensued. Okay, boom. So, Janet Jackson, so again, Michael Rapaport with the C-list credentials decided that, you know, Janet Jackson with all of her records and #1s and, you know, she's also still the only black woman to ever be nominated for a Producer of the Year Grammy. And, you know, all these different things, I could talk about Janet Jackson all day, but we're not going to do that. Just know Janet Jackson is the shit. If you don't like it, that's your loss. And so he decided that his C-list credentials were big enough to go after Janet Jackson and all of her legacy and made this whole tweet storm about how, for all you people who were mad about Justin the Super Bowl, blah, blah, let me know the last time Janet Jackson had a song that was popping. Because, of course, by him being at the cookout with his certificate of appreciation, he's now learned some of the lingo that some of us use, even though popping is kind of, you know, a 2006, 2007 phrase, but, you know, they always be late to the party, so they don't ever get stuff right. So he decided he's going to use our own lingo in this little discourse he wanted to have. And so, you know, he wanted to know, you know, when was the last time she had a song that was popping? Because, of course, you know, Janet's legacy is dependent upon his approval because that's what happens with black entertainers. Black entertainers, no matter what they've done, no matter how many accolades they've accomplished, it's always in the hands of white people at the end of the day. They really think that they are the moral compass of what is right and what is wrong. And when I say thinking they are the moral compass, I say that as in, as long as they're paying attention to something, they think it's in. But once they stop paying attention, they think the rest of the world has turned their backs on something. And I'm just like, it doesn't work that way. So he decided to do that. And I was cool. I wasn't even impressed about it. I was like, whatever. And then it kept going. People were responding like, dude, chill out. Leave, Janet. Mind you, Janet didn't do nothing to nobody. Janet was chilling at home, being rich, taking care of the baby. I'm sure the baby started learning how to walk, so that's annoying because once babies learn how to walk, God, they don't know how to sit down. They just go everywhere. I'm like, damn, sit down. They because they had to sit still for 9, 10, 11 months. So now it's on. They everywhere. All day, climbing into stuff, walking into walls, bumping into tables. They hit the head on the corner of the coffee table. All that. She's dealing with all that right now. So she was busy. And but she was trending on Twitter because her fans, did the whole Janet Jackson Appreciation Day. So maybe that's what triggered it. But anyway, he's doing all that, and so he starts talking about, you people that are allegedly fans, show me pictures of the tickets you bought to her concerts, and because now he's trying to talk about, she doesn't sell concert tickets anymore, and some other crap. I'm like, well, the tour just ended. At this point, it don't matter. She did well. If you missed the show, she was in your city like 3 times. I mean, the dates were sold out, so you probably couldn't get tickets, but she was in your city. Anyway, and so he's doing all that. Now, this is what got under my skin, because I really honestly didn't care that he's not really fond of Janet Jackson. Who cares? If you don't like a certain artist, it is what it is. But what gets me is when people start to be disrespectful, because the thing is, when you're invited, I didn't invite him, but y'all did. When you're invited to have, how do I say this? When you're invited to sit at the table, you have to be mindful of what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. There's boundaries that are there because you're not really a part of that table. You weren't a part of the original formation of that table. You got invited. Everything that's at that table was there before you ever showed up. So somebody like Janet Jackson became Janet Jackson, not because you approved what it was that she did, but because she was a kick-ass entertainer who could do any and everything, to the point where she has more #1 albums than her brother. And that's no diss to Michael, because he's a legend as well. And if he was still living, I'm sure he'd probably have more at this point. But either way, you weren't a part of that original conversation. And so it would be like if I decided all of a sudden I was super, super cool with the Mexican community and I wanted to be down with them all the time. And like Selena Quintanillas is like, they love her to death because it was some bullshit that she got killed by Yolanda's ass. And, they have like the St. Selena Day and everything like that. It would be like me going to my Mexican friend's house and start talking shit about Selena. Like, I mean, she was cool, but I don't know why y'all gassed her up like that. Like, let me know when she had a dope music video. Like, it's kind of like, that's not my realm to talk about her because, one, I'm disrespecting an entire community that embraces her and loves her, and she's inspiration and motivation to a lot of people in that community, the same way Janet Jackson is for a lot of people who are in the industry now. Don't be fucking disrespectful, because first of all, you weren't invited to the cookout in the first place. Somebody let you in on accident because they shouldn't have been there either. So it was kind of like, it's a bad look. But even with that, I wasn't even impressed. What got me was, as people were responding, I noticed that there was like a black girl who responded and said something. I don't remember what she said, but he decided to post this girl's pic and start making fun of how she looked. And at this point, it's like, this isn't even about Janet Jackson. This is just you just being an asshole. And on top of that, using your white male privilege. Because, again, that's the thing when it comes to boundaries, okay? Sometimes when y'all invite these people to the cookout, they don't understand boundaries, because when you see the world through a lens of privilege, you don't even understand when you're doing something wrong or you're doing something in poor taste. You think you're just telling some jokes, and you just think that you're just having a good time and everybody needs to loosen up. But for some people hold a lot of people near and dear to their hearts. So like I said, when we have different legends and people like the Gladyses and the Luthers and all of them who are no longer with us, but we still have, Gladys is here, Luther's no longer with us. But when we have those people, we hold them near and dear to our hearts because we lose our legends, and our legends don't get respected. Look at how quick they were to make Prince look like a crackhead after he died. Prince had never had any kind of reputation with drugs or anything. Then when it was discovered that he overdosed on pain meds because he had back problems because he used to do all that damn breakdancing on stage, all of a sudden, now he's a drug addict. That's what they want to paint him as. Our legacies are always tarnished, and we're never there to defend them once we're dead. That's really what that's about. But with this girl, so he cooks how the girl looks and all the other stuff like that. Then he finds another person, some other black girl, and I guess he actually went to the girl's page, and in her bio, she must have had like a link to her YouTube page or something like that. He decides to post that. Cook the girl for having a YouTube page that only has like 1,000 subscribers. I'm like, you're just disrespectful at this point. It's not even about Janet Jackson or whether, you think she's fit for the Super Bowl. This is more so about you just being an asshole and not even understanding that you, with your white male privilege of all things, the last group of people you need to go after is black women. It's not a good look. And so, it's funny. So, I guess his argument was saying, Janet's not really musically relevant enough to do the Super Bowl. But my thing was, if you look at who did the Super Bowl, between like 2005 and 2009, what was it? The Who and the Rolling Stones, people who haven't had hits in years, okay, but their legacy, their royalty, people will always support and love them. And people, the thing is, a lot of people are not willing to put black entertainers who've done that same work in that same realm. You know what I mean? Like, if John Lennon died how many years ago? And it's a holiday. Every time we get to December, whatever day it was that he died, it's a freaking holiday. However, let it be Whitney Houston. Y'all would just want to call her a crackhead all day. You know what I mean? Let it be Rick James. Maybe that ain't the best example, but my point. Y'all see what I'm saying? And so that's why I'll say it's like, man, black entertainers always have to be collateral to how white people feel. And it's an issue. And so Michael Rapaport needs to understand that, yeah, well, I didn't invite you to the cookout, but if you're going to be at the cookout, you're going to be respectful to the people who are in the house, all right? You're going to be respectful to the cooks in the kitchen, because you over here eating off of us. Anyway, that's why I told y'all, everybody don't need to be at the cookout. Cookout is not for everybody, because when you invite too many of the wrong people to the cookout, then we ain't got no food. All right, and on top of that, like I said, y'all gave the red carpet rollout to all these people who didn't need to be at the cookout. Y'all gave one to Justin Timberlake, and you gave one to a bunch of different people. I think y'all gave one to Post Malone until he told y'all that he wasn't a rapper and some other stuff. Now y'all mad, y'all done kicked him out. Y'all done gave it to all these people. Y'all let all them jump the line. Now the kids ain't eating, okay? Noses running, they crying. Kids don't get to eat nothing. And half the people in line ain't even wash their hands or whatever. They coughing, because they don't cough in their elbow, coughing in their hands. Then they want to pass a plate down to the next person. Now everybody got mono and hepatitis because germs are spreading. All right? Like I told y'all, some of these people that y'all invite to the cookout, they need to start at the bottom. Start at the kid table and work your way up to the spades table. You don't just get to go to the spades table just because you got a certificate of appreciation for saying something that black people like. You need to start at the kid table with the hot dogs and the Capri Sun. All right? Told y'all. Michael Rapaport reminds me of, like, I went to a high school that was, it was kind of diverse, but it was still like a white high school, and we had just enough black people to have maybe 8 or 9 people at the black table during lunch. Now, here's the thing about the black table in middle and high school. It's not a table where people are trying to be racist or nothing. It's just like, look, when you go to school and every time you go to class, it's only you and one person. When you get to lunch, you just got to be around some people you can culturally relate to and chop it up with for that good 20, 25 minutes before you go back to class. And so Michael Rapaport reminds me of the white kid who would date the black girl, and he thought he got to sit at the table. And we were like, that's cool, you can sit here, but we don't really want to hear your opinion because, like, it's just, this is our debrief, okay? Like, it's Black History Month. We just sat in the classroom and had to watch these racist movies about slavery and Long Walk Home and the Ghost of Mississippi, and every time the N-word was said, somebody in the bathroom thought it was, somebody in the class thought it was funny, and I was trying to fight them, but I couldn't. So I had to sit there and take it. And then every time something happened, the whole class looked at me. So now that I'm out of that class and I'm in this 20 minutes of lunch, I just want to be with my people so we can laugh and have our little debrief before we go back to this chaos. Okay? That's what the cookout symbolizes, pretty much. Okay? That's black people's escapism from the nonsense of the real world. That cookout is something that just gives all of us that feeling of euphoria. That's one of my songs. That feeling of euphoria, you know, the music is cranking, you got the amazing Frankie Beverly going, it's good vibes, the little kids are playing football and running and chasing each other, the aunties are at one table laughing and cracking it up, the uncles are at the grill with the sandals doing the ribs and everything like that. It's a good day. But when y'all invite everybody to the cookout, now we ain't got enough food and everything, they want to start changing the recipes, and then on top of that, you'll go to Barnes & Noble the next day, and you see one of the people you invited to the cookout, they got a whole new book with recipes on how to cook your auntie's potato salad, and didn't even give you a cut. That's the cookout for you. So, as a matter of fact, like, listen, I told y'all, pause on the cookouts. I wouldn't invite anybody to the cookout right now. The only person I might think about inviting to the cookout, it might be that Jane Elliott lady. That's the white lady that does the blue eyes, green eyes, brown eyes thing where she teaches people what it's like to be on the receiving end of racism if they're not a person of color and everything like that. And the only reason I would invite her is because, one, she's old. So she's only going to be at the cookout for like 30 minutes. She's not going to ask for a whole lot of food because she can't eat a lot of stuff anyway at this point. You know, she's just going to want a little ginger ale. You know, she might want to try the banana pudding at the end, and she's going to go home. That's it. She's only going to be there for 30 minutes. So she's not even going to be in the way. Cool. Now, you know, it's dope. I can do that. But again, y'all want to invite everybody, okay? Told y'all, it's like having hot chocolate. You can only put so much milk in it before the chocolate starts to run out. And you know most of us are lactose intolerant, so it ain't too good for us to drink milk anyway. Anyway, I'm not trying to be super petty. Just, it's an analogy, okay? White people don't fight me. This is not a I don't like white people video. It's just like, man, white people, if y'all are going to sit in black spaces, then you need to respect the legacy that black people have created. Do not disrespect what we have going for ourselves just because you don't approve. Because at the end of the day, when we flip the script and ask, what is it that you contributed? to pop culture musically that wasn't stolen from black people, y'all don't really have a whole lot to say. Except for Aqua Barbie Girl. And even that damn song, technically it was a house song, and house song freaking evolved from disco, which was made by black people. So that's all I can say. Anyway, whew. Michael Rapaport, yeah, y'all don't invite nobody else to the cookout. As a matter of fact, y'all need to tell him he need to go. He need to go right now. Like it's time for him to go. Unless he's gonna be helping wash the dishes, he need to go. Anyway, I'm out. Subscribe.